Turkey is the only country on Earth that physically straddles two continents. A land bridge where Europe and Asia touch across a strait so narrow in places that it measures barely 800 meters wide. A territory where entire empires rose, flourished, and collapsed on top of one another, leaving layers of history so dense that no other nation on the planet can match them. Before we set off across a land that has been the cradle of civilizations for over 10,000 years, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because today we are crossing Turkey from coast to coast. Turkey is a country that refuses to be captured in a single image. It holds Mediterranean beaches and moon-like valleys carved by millions of years of erosion, Ottoman mosques, and underground cities where entire communities once lived beneath the earth for centuries at a time. And despite carrying all that historical weight, Turkey feels remarkably alive, a place where thousand-year-old ruins sit steps away from bustling bazaars, where the call to prayer echoes across rooftops 5 times a day, and where hospitality towards strangers is treated by Turks themselves as something close to sacred duty. The story usually begins in the city that gives its name to the bridge between continents, the only metropolis on Earth physically split across two landmasses, divided by a strait where tankers, ferries, and fishing boats cross constantly. A mosque with 6 minarets rises near a former Byzantine cathedral, later converted into a mosque and now a museum, its domes covered in golden mosaics that have survived more than 1,500 years of earthquakes, fires, and changes of empire. A short walk away, a former sultan's palace guards treasures, jewels, and religious relics behind a series of interconnected courtyards, while a covered market with thousands of stalls, one of the oldest and largest in the world, still sells spices, carpets, and gold in exactly the same spot it has for more than 500 years. Just nearby, across the strait on the Asian side, a neighborhood of old Ottoman wooden houses and steep streets offers a quieter version of the same city, while ferries packed with commuters cross constantly between both sides, turning the daily commute into a literal journey between two continents. But the city is only the beginning. To the southwest, the coastline opens into turquoise coves and the ruins of Greek and Roman cities that once rivaled each other for control of maritime trade. An amphitheater carved into a hillside still carries acoustics so precise that a whisper from the stage can be heard in the back rows, while white terraces formed by mineral deposits cascade down an entire hillside like frozen waterfalls, a geological phenomenon that has drawn bathers since Roman times. If this mix of civilizations is drawing you in, drop a comment and tell us which chapter of Turkish history interests you most. We read every one. To the south, the Mediterranean coast offers golden sand beaches guarded by rugged mountains, fishing villages turned into holiday destinations, and the remains of ancient cities half submerged after centuries of earthquakes and rising sea levels, visible today through crystal-clear water to anyone willing to dive among the fallen columns. Inland, the landscape shifts into something that feels almost otherworldly. A region of valleys shaped by millions of years of erosion has produced cone-shaped rock formations known locally as fairy chimneys, some hollow inside, carved over generations into homes, churches, and dovecots cut directly into the soft stone. Underground, multi-level subterranean cities capable of sheltering thousands of people along with their livestock and supplies served as refuges from invasions stretching back more than 2,000 years. Every morning, dozens of hot air balloons rise over this landscape, painting the sky with color as they drift above a valley that looks frozen in another geological age. Further east, the central Anatolian plateau holds cities that once served as capitals of forgotten empires, with stone walls, tombs carved into cliffs, and the country's current administrative capital, a modern city deliberately built in the heart of the nation after the founding of the Republic, a conscious contrast to the historical weight of the old imperial capital. Heading east, the terrain turns mountainous and remote, where snow-capped peaks rise above 5,000 meters, one of them said, according to tradition, to be the resting place of a biblical ark after the Great Flood. This border region with Iran, Iraq, and the Caucasus preserves stone fortresses built by Armenian and Urartian kingdoms, along with villages where multiple languages and traditions have coexisted for centuries, making it one of the most complex cultural crossroads in the entire country. In the north, along the Black Sea, the landscape turns unexpectedly green and humid, with tea plantations covering terraced hills under an almost subtropical climate, Byzantine monasteries clinging to impossible cliffsides, and a coastal culture entirely distinct from the rest of the country, shaped by traditional dances, local dialects, and a deep relationship with the sea. In the southeast, near the Syrian border, a remote hilltop holds what is now considered one of the oldest temples ever built by humankind, erected thousands of years before the pyramids of Egypt, with stone pillars carved with animal reliefs that challenge everything once believed about the origins of organized civilization. Nearby, ancient cities preserve mosques built from black basalt stone, spice markets that perfume entire streets, and a cultural identity that feels closer to Mesopotamia than to the rest of Turkey. Turkish cuisine tells its own version of this story of crossroads and empires. Kebab prepared in dozens of regional variations, bread baked fresh in stone ovens, syrup-soaked sweets tracing back to Ottoman palace kitchens, and tea served in small tulip-shaped glasses that accompanies nearly every conversation, negotiation, and chance encounter throughout the day. And above it all, that constant sense of standing on layers of history, where every city, every hill, and every coastline seems to hold the remains of at least 3 different civilizations that lived, built, and vanished on that exact same ground. Turkey isn't a country you can take in all at once. Its regions shift language, climate, and landscape so dramatically that a single trip can feel like crossing several different countries. Distances that look short on a map often mean hours of driving between completely opposite landscapes, and locals themselves joke that here, neither tea nor conversation should ever be rushed. That is Turkey. Minarets beside classical ruins, mountains facing the sea, and a land where every layer of stone seems to hide another civilization underneath. If this journey stirred something in you, let us know in the comments which region of Turkey you'd visit first. And if you enjoyed exploring Turkey with us today, leave a like, subscribe, and join us for the next journey.